हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल बायोसिम्प्लीफाइड। आज मैं क्लास 10 के लिए एक बायोलॉजी क्लास 10 का एक वीडियो लेके आई हूँ, दैट इज़ ऑन द चैप्टर एंडोक्राइन सिस्टम। ओके, सो एंडोक्राइन सिस्टम में बेसिकली आपको एंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड्स के बारे में पढ़ना है। तो आपने एंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड्स क्लास 8 में भी पढ़ा है। तो एंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड्स पे डिटेल में जाने के पहले थोड़ा डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ ग्लैंड्स के बारे में डिस्कस कर लेते हैं। सो इन द ह्यूमन बॉडी देयर आर 3 टाइप्स ऑफ ग्लैंड्स: एक्सोक्राइन, एंडोक्राइन and heterocrine gland. Clear? So basically all these 3 glands, they release some secretions, fluid. Clear? So exocrine glands जो secretion release करते हैं, they release their secretion directly into the blood. Sorry, into the duct, not into the blood. Okay, so these glands, they have duct. Duct मतलब कोई opening हुआ, कुछ tube like structure हुआ जिसका opening है, and through that opening the secretion is released. So this gland does not releases any secretion into the blood. Example you have studied in class 9: sweat gland, sebaceous gland, salivary gland. These are the exocrine gland. जो endocrine glands होते हैं, this endocrine glands, they release their secretion directly into the blood and they reach to the target cell. Okay, so no ducts are present, so that is why these glands are called ductless gland. Example है pituitary gland, thyroid gland, then adrenal gland. ये सारे examples है. Moving on to third type, heterocrine. Heterocrine gland means they are mixed gland. They behave both as endocrine and exocrine gland. Okay, so ये दोनों तरह से काम करता है. जैसे पैंक्रियास. पैंक्रिया क्या करता है? आपने क्लास 9 डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम में चैप्टर में पढ़ा है that pancreas releases pancreatic juice that contains some enzymes, right? So ये जो pancreatic juice ये digestion में help करता है, it is released in the pancreatic duct. So pancreas is acting as a exocrine gland, but also it acts as a endocrine gland by releasing some hormones. So that is why pancreas is known as heterocrine gland. So very important question, you have to note it down here. Why pancreas is called mixed or heterocrine gland? Okay, because it behaves both as endocrine and exocrine. As endocrine, it releases hormones. As exocrine, it releases pancreatic juice, right? So this question is very important for your ICSE exam. Now moving on to next part of the chapter, this endocrine gland, their secretions are known as hormones. Okay, so next topic that you will study is about hormones. So what are these hormones? Hormones are the chemical messengers released by endocrine gland directly in blood to reach target cell. Okay, so they are acting as a chemical messenger and they are released by the endocrine gland directly in blood to reach the target cell. Now, what are the features of this endocrine? What are the features of these hormones that we will discuss now? Features. Okay, very quickly. So, first feature, it is released by endocrine gland. Okay, they are released in very small amount, but very active, girls. Very biologically, they are very active. Okay. Then chemical nature of the hormones. Hormones can be protein or peptide or steroid in nature. Now, always remember, students, that whenever hormones are released in our body, they are released in some fixed amount. Okay, adequate amount is required. If there is hormone secretion is more than the required amount, it is known as, when the hormone secretion is more than the required amount, it is known as hyper secretion. Okay, or over secretion. And when the hormone is released less in amount, it is known as hyposecretion or under secretion. In both the condition lead to certain hormonal disorders related to endocrine system. Okay, like you have heard diabetes mellitus, then simple goiter. So moving on to next part of the chapter, that you have studied about the nervous system in class 8, right? So both nervous system and the hormonal system of our body acting as a coordination system. Okay, coordination means it helps to maintain the connection between the outer environment and the inner environment. But there are certain differences. You can see, first point, nervous system is made up of neurons, whereas hormonal system or endocrine system consists of secretory cells which releases hormones. The nervous system transmits the information in the form of electrical waves or electrical impulse, whereas endocrine system transmit information via chemical messengers, which are hormones. Okay. Now, this pathway, the impulses travel through nerve fiber, but the information by the hormones are carried through the blood. Speed of transmission is very fast in case of nervous system, but it is very slow and long term in case of hormonal system. So, duration of effect for nervous system is very short, and hormonal system, it is a very long term system. Then localized response of the nervous system is localized. It means whenever you are touching the hot iron, you are withdrawing your hand, right? So your hand is showing the response, not your leg or not your other part of the body. So it is localized in that particular organ, whereas hormonal system affects the different parts of the body. So its response is widely spread throughout our body. Now moving on to the different endocrine glands that you will study according to class 10 syllabus. So first one that you will study for class 10 syllabus is the pituitary gland. Okay. Second, so this is your male and female body. Both the pituitary is found in male and female. Next one you will study about thyroid gland. Third one, pancreas. Next, adrenal gland. So basically all these 4 endocrine glands you will study according to class 10 syllabus. Next, moving on to first gland, which acts as a endocrine gland as well as exocrine gland, but we will discuss the endocrine part, that is pancreas. Okay. Now students, you can see the location of the pancreas. This is the liver. Okay. And this one is the duodenum, loop of the duodenum. So within the loop of the duodenum, you can see greenish color structure is present. This one is the pancreas. It is slightly present behind the stomach. Clear? So in the loop of duodenum, behind the stomach, you will write the location. So location of pancreas in loop of duodenum behind the stomach. Okay. Now, if you see the endocrine part of the pancreas, it consists of several group of cells. Okay, you can see different types of cells, and this island of cells is known as islets of Langerhans. And this islet of Langerhans consists of alpha cells which secrete glucagon hormone, beta cells that secrete insulin hormone, okay, and delta cell that secretes somatostatin hormone. So these three cells, they specifically secretes their specific hormones in the body. Okay. Now moving on to next part. What is the function of each of this hormone? We will discuss now. Function of insulin. Now insulin and glucagon both helps to maintain our sugar level in the blood. Now as you can see in the diagram, that here this is the liver, this one is the pancreas. Okay. Now when you are eating food, lunch or the dinner, what will happen after consuming food? Your blood sugar level will increase, right? When this blood sugar level will rise. Why? Because after digestion of carbohydrate, glucose is produced, and that continuously increases the blood sugar level. Then that will stimulate this pancreas to release insulin, okay, due to high blood sugar level. And what this insulin will do? This insulin will stimulate the glucose uptake from blood by the cell. Okay, for what? For respiration process. So these tissue cells under the influence of insulin hormone will use up glucose, and thus glucose level comes to normal or it decreases. Clear? As well as if glucose is present above the normal value, if it is present excess amount, then this insulin will stimulate this liver cell to promote conversion of glucose into this glycogen. And you know glycogen is the storage form of carbohydrate. It is stored in the liver. So in this way, blood glucose level is maintained. But when you are doing vigorous physical exercise, or when you are starved for a long period of time, not eating anything, slowly the blood glucose level will decrease. And this stimulates production of glucagon hormone. Okay. This glucagon hormone is released, right? Now this glucagon hormone, when released by alpha cells of pancreas, this will try to maintain the normal glucose level, try to increase the glucose level of our body, right? So this will stimulate the breakdown of this glycogen in the liver into glucose, and this glucose will be released into the blood, and thus the blood sugar level rises. So in this way, both insulin and the glucagon, they are acting to maintain the glucose level of our body. Okay. So moving on to the disorders. Okay. Now as I told you, there are certain adequate amount of hormones released in our body, and they maintain the normal functioning of our body. So if insulin is secreted in less amount, hyposecretion of insulin, what will happen? It causes a disease called diabetes mellitus. And in this condition, the glucose in the blood increases. and urine also contain glucose. Person feel thirsty. So these are the three major symptoms of diabetes mellitus. But if there is over-secretion of insulin, okay, if there is over-secretion or hyper-secretion, if there is over-secretion or hyper-secretion of insulin is taking place, exactly opposite will occur, that is the glucose level in the blood decreases, which is called hypoglycemia. And in that low level of glucose, brain cell, if they do not get enough glucose, they start undergoing death. That lead to state of coma. Patient becomes subconscious. Okay. This condition may arise if the diabetic patient takes overdose of insulin. Okay, insulin injection, if it is injected continuously into the body without checking, then this also lead to this coma due to low glucose level. So this is all about the first part of our endocrine system, where I have discussed about the pancreas. Watch my next video where I'll discuss the functioning of other endocrine glands of human body. प्लीज़ बच्चों आप पूरा चैप्टर को अच्छे से समझना, वीडियो को देखना अच्छे से, फिर इसको लाइक, शेयर और सब्सक्राइब भी करना मेरे चैनल को. सो थैंक यू सो मच स्टूडेंट्स. बाय.